Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Blogcast with your host Will and Simon. Simon, what's the word today?
Hey Will, mate. School's back, so I'm happy my kids are away. I've got a bit more free time to get back into work because I'm pretty keen on it. So what we're talking about today is Zed Run, a gambling play-to-earn game. So it's a horse racing game. So you can own horses, breed horses, race the horses, train the horses. You can even loan out your horses and let other people race them as well. So you can share in the winnings from that horse. But I guess the big difference compared to what you're talking about, those like Ponzi scheme economics, like your Steppens, your Axie Infinities, they basically only had more value if they could bring more people into the ecosystem. This one is a bit different in that it doesn't rely on the Ponzi economics because effectively it's gambling. And so people are going to lose money as well as people are going to win money. And it's going to depend on your horses and the traits of your horses, because obviously there's going to be a case of some horses are better than others, which gives them a more valuable price. It's definitely got more gameplay to it, and there's a whole ecosystem of people, learning to train their horses and breeding them, because you obviously can breed different characteristics, which makes them better. But they've also got a lot of downward pressure on prices of the horses, because not everybody wants to race horses and breed horses, and there's a cost to that. So it kind of it's stemming the infinite breeding of horses just through economics itself. And I should say that the protocol itself, Zed Run, it doesn't make any money from its users. So the money that comes through is, gambled between different users. But the protocol itself, its revenue stream comes from advertising. And so that's the big difference for this one, is that unlike the others, which needed new users for the protocol to make money as well, Zed Run actually makes predominantly most of its money from advertising. And you can see it in the races. Like, it's actually got some 3D races, and they're sponsored by things like NASCAR, Budweiser, even the Victorian Racing Club in Melbourne is sponsoring them. So they've got some big partnerships and some money coming in. So this is actually a protocol that's making money.
That's amazing. So the protocol has its own money-making method, and all it's doing is giving essentially players, a space to buy horses, sell horses, breed them, loan them, and so forth, and also bet on them. Is that how it works?
There's no betting element yet, but I'm sure that's definitely something that'll be in the works from the moment. But yeah, the horses are all NFTs. So each person can own their own NFT and race these NFTs. So that gives the ownership to the individual. And you can kind of imagine, there's plenty of applications where people could think this could work, and taking it from the real world. Like there's already people that love horse racing in general. There's already people who take part ownerships in horses. And so this is just a digital version of that in a way. So if you think about all the things that this could kind of disrupt in the real world, and I guess that's what we're talking about with blockchain, is what does it disrupt? And I'm not going to say this is going to take away horse racing, but if you've got overheads of the actual horse racing industry, which is huge expenses and costs for trainers and owners and jockeys and transport of all these horses, huge expenses that go into this to make it the amazing spectacle that it is. But then there's also, I guess, there's the animal cruelty elements of it that people also consider when it comes to horse racing. So this digital version of it kind of just removes all of that out of the way. And if you think about, every pub in Australia has horse racing going on all the time. So I could imagine there's a world where Zed Run could show a better cost model to these pubs than the traditional horse racing industry, because they can undercut it so much. And then if the individuals there can take ownership of some of these horses, there's a huge potential there.
That's a really good point, in that I think what I heard was that they've kind of lowered the barrier of entry to anybody who was kind of interested in this, maybe not so much as, something they want to do full time, but maybe as a hobby. So they like horses, they like racing, they like the whole idea of making a bit of money. So somebody like me could go and do I make my own horse? Like, how would that work? And how do I make a bit of money off of it, or maybe even lose some money? But as long as I'm having fun, how does that work?
Sure. So there's some simple ways to get into the game itself. So you can just sign up with your MetaMask. It's on Polygon Network, and the Zed Run actually covers all your gas fees. There's no gas fees when you're using the protocol either. But you can go and loan a horse off someone. So you can borrow a horse, it costs you nothing to borrow the horse, and you can go and put it into the races. So there's a bit of, I guess, hands-on. You need to be there to enter your horse into these races. And then why would someone want to do that? Well, because if they're not at their screen, then their horse isn't running, and they're not making any money from the horse. So if they loan out their horse to someone else can put it into races and potentially make some money, and the winnings get split between the two. So you can get in with $0 up front to get into the race itself. Then there is, yes, you could go and buy a horse off the secondary market from people who have bred them, and then you can own your own NFT horse. So I've gone and done that just for a bit of fun to play around with it. I've owned my own horse, I've raced it, but the racing is kind of fun. Let's face it, you put your horse out there, you watch the 3D the model of it, and the horse is all racing.
But then where does the money come from? So if I can't bet on multiple horses, and I think you said that might be a feature that's coming up, where am I earning my money? I don't think it has any specific token, but I do know that there's a lot of volume being traded, and there's people buying and selling horses. I've heard some horses have sold for upwards of $100,000. So how expensive is your horse? But then how also do you make money?
Yeah, you're right. So there definitely are some $100,000 horses out there, which basically shows these have got some incredibly good traits, and they, are winning a lot of races. So people outside of the ecosystem can't gamble on it yet. If you own the horses, then you have to put up money to go into races where you can win money. So that's the current way of making money. So if you've got a really strong horse and someone wants to spend $100,000 on a horse, geez, you better hope it's going to win a lot of races. That's where I guess you need to be quite intimate with the game to really figure out what breed of horse is going to do really well. But there's still that element of luck. So you're always going to have horses which have better traits, but there's obviously still some luck mechanism that put into the race itself and the game itself.
And I think there's a bit more to it, because you can breed them as well. You can go shop for stallions and fowls and whatnot to breed with your horse. And, you can see the history of the horse and all that kind of thing, isn't it? And so there's probably different business aspects. So I imagine there might be breeders out there who are just breeding and selling, and there might be races. There might be, there's probably all sorts of little business niches happening in that whole game, with everyone just being specialized.
Absolutely is. And that's where it comes down to the ownership, because there's NFTs, there's ownership that gets taken by the individuals who have these horses. And so, yeah, they're going to gamify and find out the best ways for them to make money from it. And again, it's taking from the real world horse racing, where people do breed horses and they do take, gambles on mating different horses to see if they can actually get, a winner out of that, breeding match. And it's the same inside the game. So people have got to choose wisely which horses they're going to breed, and they might go buy another horse if they want to, breed it with one of theirs. There's a huge amount of gamify element and a huge amount of, I guess, understanding, intimate knowledge of, I guess, how the code works to really, take advantage of it.
And it's insane. It seems like it's only been around for a couple of years. And if I got my information correct, they've had more than 1 million races up to date. And that's because the horses are racing 24/7. They've got a Twitch channel on. And any point in time, you can go on Twitch and just watch some races happening. And I guess in the future, we'll probably be able to bet on some races.
Absolutely. Well, I've got some numbers for you. So the project's been running for 3 years. There's been over 3 million horse races in that time. So that's an average of about 2,700 races per day. So this is a game that's being used, because you need someone to actually enter a horse into a race for the race to get started. And you can imagine then, this is why sponsors are interested. This is why when you go to these, when you're actually watching the digital races, you see big signs of NASCAR over the races, because there's 2,700 of these races going all the time. They've got stadiums named after, Budweiser Stadium that the horses are racing in. Huge revenue streams there. The other stats I've got here, over $50 million in prize money has been paid out in those 3 years. So there's a lot of money sloshing out in this ecosystem here that people are making money from. And we also talked about a token. Well, they've only just recently released their token. So this game is being run for about 2.5, nearly 3 years before they even released their own token. So people were using the game, playing the game, winning in Ethereum, betting in Ethereum before the game even released its own token.
So what is a token used for? It sounds really interesting. I'm particularly curious about it since we're in the bear market, and I like to find things to sort of hold on to during the bear market. So what is the purpose of this token?
This is probably, I guess, the downside that I've seen to the game so far, is that I think that they released their token more based off pressure from the community than giving it huge amounts of utility. So the token exists, and now you can buy horses with it. So it's going to become an element of the game where you use it to for prize money to enter races and things like that. But they haven't, I guess, for me, they haven't put it to a level where has to be used, as opposed to where it's been used for Ethereum. But you can think about the ways that they could bring it in. So when they do bring in that external gambling on the game, maybe they can you have to use their token. So there's a whole bunch of things that I think they can do, but I think they release their token based off pressure from the community, rather than having a real good use case for it, because the game was running, the game was fine. And it comes back to that question lots of times that we have is, does something that's working on blockchain actually need to have its own token? Maybe this one didn't. It clearly didn't. It proved it didn't. But there's also that element of higher ownership. People, if they create a token, that creates another element of the community around it. I think the token can still do well. I think they've got to do a bit more work on how it gets used within the game. And I guess maybe they've got to build their own little moat around what their Zed Run token is actually used for. Just buying and selling horses, great. Entering prizes, great. But they were doing that with Ethereum already. So there's a bit more work they got to do.
Yeah, it sounds like they're a team that like to iterate. And in fact, on their website, I found that they have a really beautiful page where they show all the features that are upcoming, all the features that are in beta, all the features that are being considered, and you can also suggest your features. So it sounds like a team that iterates on a lot of things, including their tokens. So it's possible that they might end up having some interesting use cases. So definitely something to, I guess, keep our eye on, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other downside that I had to the game was the infinite amount of horses that could effectively be bred, because at some point in time, there's not going to be more people that want to buy horses, but they are going to bring in an element, which I think will grumble the people who have really valuable horses, that they're going to create an aging element of the horses. So their time to recover from a race as they get older takes longer and longer and longer. So you might have this amazingly winning horse, but, maybe instead of being able to race it again straight away, after about, 4 years, it might be only race every 30 minutes, might be able to an hour, and slowly it gives it a death in a way, because eventually it's going to be so far apart that you don't actually race it anymore. So that helps.
And that would definitely affect the price of a horse. So I definitely don't want to own a $200,000 horse that's, will only be alive for the next 3 months. I don't care how many times I race it. I probably won't make my money back.
But to me, that's a nice element to it. Again, it's bringing more of the real world aspect into it. So now it's another level of the gamification. You've got a horse that's racing really well. You got to earn the money from that horse while it's still young and healthy. So I like that gamification effort, but people who obviously are early to it, who have got really valuable horses, won't like that. And I'm not sure how they're going to appease the audience in that regards. I hope they don't grandfather and allow the early ones to have horses that race infinitely. And the other aspect of it, I guess, is the economics of it, is that there is a cost to breed. It's not just free, which I guess is similar to Steppen when because you can breed new sneakers in Steppen. There's a cost to actually creating a new shoe there. There's a cost to creating a new horse. And if obviously the market is not demanding more horses, the price to buy them is going to be really low. If it costs more to breed than it is to sell it, people aren't going to want to do that. So that's an element that will keep horses down, but I think the aging part is probably a real big factor.
That makes a lot of sense, but it's really cool that I guess that they're trying to mirror the real world market. But I think what's crazy here is that they've come up with a new kind of application for NFTs, and I can see other people applying this. So let's talk about soccer, all kinds of esports games and so on. I can see them just jumping into the NFT space, and imagine owning your own soccer player and training them and them being in a team, and this could be pretty big in the future.
That's actually something I've never thought of. That's really blown my mind of where that could go. Yes, you could have a digital soccer team, couldn't you? They're going to have players with all sorts of different characteristics.
Yeah, you could own a digital city, a digital Risk kind of game. I can see this going in so many ways where there's all sorts of things. I remember playing Sims, and I remember playing Sim Cities as well. And I imagine owning your own Sim City and trading with other cities, maybe going to war with each other and everything. And
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm just, my mind's ticking over when you talked about soccer or football. I'm just thinking of the FIFA games. They've already built that platform where they've got the players with all the different, performance levels and all their characteristics. So the characteristics there already exist. You just got to NFT them and put them out there to the world and let the world do it. Well, that's a crazy concept. This is all the thing. This is the digital world disruption, isn't it? And you can imagine, I guess, the other thing where I see Zed Run being amazing is think of, that we're talking about the metaverse in the future. Zed Run's going to live in the metaverse. These stadiums are going to exist in the metaverse. So you can take your avatar and go and watch these races in the stadium. So it's got a really bright future, I think. Finish up the investment opportunity here is you can either get involved and buy some horses and play around with it, which is probably something that you've got to spend a lot of time on doing. So it's only for people that really want to really get involved in the game, I think, because I think otherwise you might just lose a lot of money if you're trying to play around with horses without really knowing it. The other opportunity here is obviously their token, which I did mention doesn't have a utility yet, but I think the team can probably add a lot of utility for it. And I think it's only like a $36-40 million market cap, so huge potential for a game that's generating millions of dollars in revenue.
Yeah. And see, I'm not investment advice, but I'm of the mind that if I take a look at it and it looks like they might end up adding more features to this token, it would make sense for me to get it a little bit earlier. Mind you, there being a higher risk and a potentially higher reward. But then obviously, if the token just remains a token, just by association, nothing there. But then if it ends up being a useful token, it's something interesting to perhaps acquire and hold during a bear.
Yeah, and basically, look out TAB. Zed Run could be coming for you and definitely disrupting your business. And they have a huge monopoly on the business, especially in the pubs. And I think this is something that could, bite at the heels of a big industry giant like that.
100%. So that's a really interesting project, and I'll definitely keep my eye out on it. And thanks very much, Simon. And until next time.
Awesome, Will. Thanks for your time, mate.